All right, it's Saturday, shopping day here at Weekend at the Warehouse. I did not go as crazy as I did last time, but I did pick up two games that have been on my list that have been very hard to find for the last couple of years here at the Warehouse, which is one of the reasons that you should come to this, because you get access to some games that you wouldn't normally be able to find, and you get them at great prices. I picked up Holland 44, which I actually don't have any Market Garden games, and I really like Mark Simon Initiative's World War II system. After having played Salerno 43 a couple weeks ago, I was really hankering to find a copy of Holland 44. Turns out it's very difficult. So I got this, very happy with that. I do have the mounted maps, oddly enough, for this, but I don't have the game, so now I have them both together, reunited as one. And a game that I have been trying to find forever that is nearly impossible, Dark Sands, the Ted Racer North Africa game, with the weirdly shaped long map. I am super excited to play both of these and very happy to own them. I protected myself this trip by not packing a large bag, so I only literally have enough room for two games to bring home with me, and these are going to be the two that I do that with. Almoravid was here at the Warehouse. That was very popular. Lots of people grabbed copies of Almoravid. I'll show you that when I do a quick walkthrough tour. But that's my haul. Maybe not as sexy as it was last time, but I'm very happy with it and can't wait to play both of them. Here's the site of the taco truck tonight. It's still a little chilly, so not many people playing out here, but we'll undoubtedly get games tonight. We just finished up Pax Renaissance, which I will show you a clip of now before we walk into the warehouse. All right.
I had the automatic coordination.
We just finished playing Pax Renaissance here. You can see it was a pretty back and forth game, pretty even across the table. It was a 3-player game, which is my favorite player count for this game. We had, so first of all, of the weird things that happened, we had a Catholic Papal States run by a Muslim warmonger who struck out and conquered Hungary and France multiple times throughout the course of the game. Hungary at one point was Muslim, then it turned Orthodox, and I was primarily I was green. I was mostly over here in the West, and I was getting both players really picked on me quite a bit because I had a lot of weak territory. The purple player had at one point 4 separate king cards, and they were going for the Imperial victory, but they also they had some crazy comboing abilities where their influence also counted as knights and also counted as concessions. So they also potentially could have gone to the Renaissance victory. They also had a route to the globalization victory as well. And there was a moment in the game where there was also a holy victory possibility that just couldn't quite get there. But on the final turn of the game, our new player, who had never played before, suckered us all. Early in the game, he bought Sit-i Hatun of Dul Qadir, one of his first purchases, and I think we both forgot that he had this, and when one of the players used the comment to activate Imperial Victory for having the most king cards, he just rolled in, married the Ottoman Sultan, and with his tableau of ridiculous number of vassals in here, ended up winning the game. But second edition of Pax Renaissance is one of my favorite. Yeah, Dark Horse, exactly. We taught him the game, and I don't know, an hour maybe into it, 45 minutes, you're it all clicked for me, right? And suddenly, once he said that, he ended up winning the game. So never underestimate. But as you can see, this
my wife wins games.
So that's where you learned it from. It was your wife, yeah.
I will say I actually do have a really bad headache, and I really did need to get the Advil, but I was like, you know what, my presence at that table, my telegraph stuff, it's only hurting my chances. They might go, wait a minute, didn't he buy that one?
He went for medicine, and when he came back, he found himself married and king of Europe.
I just want you to know, when you marry the Ottomans, my unhappy peasants are coming along with you to cause trouble.
I was worried about that. That was the other reason I
Yeah. Well, nothing. I was actually looking for a peasant revolt or something for the Ottoman, because even then they had so many defenders.
This was my nightmare, though. The only reason I bought this card was I was like, that's going to blow the whole thing up. If you guys manage to actually use that against me, I'm just screwed.
Which?
Oh, yeah, it was a double knight conspiracy in France to take it from him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, second edition of Pax Renaissance is one of the best tableau building games, one of my favorite games in the Pax series.
I gotta buy it.
And it's got a really good production quality on it. So I prefer it to the first edition, unlike Pax Premier, where I prefer the first edition. So that was our first game today on Saturday, and we're going to play some other stuff, but there you go. And we are back here, Saturday GMT. We had the state of GMT this morning. That's the usual Saturday morning, what's going on. Then shopping spree, that was really fun. Last night, before the night was over, very late, we did get a chance to get a game of Seljuk in. We played the 1070 scenario. I was the Turks. My friend Nick was the Romans. Ended up being a Roman victory. This is vaguely the state of the map at the end of the game. So in the 1070 scenario, you get extra points for controlling these key locations. The Roman player ended up with Edessa and Manbij, and the Turkish player, who starts with Kliat, ended up reconquering Manzikert. It was actually a pretty good back and forth game. There was a lot of good jockeying for position. The forces were pretty even. And ultimately, I ended up losing because I could not get enough Ravage markers down in Anatolia for a Seljuk to prevent Seljuk victory loss. And so Alp Arslan ended up getting bottled up here in Theodosiopolis by Yosef Tarkanaiotis. And where is Roussel? And Roussel de Bayeux, who formed a combined army here, some Normans and some Romans, and just there wasn't quite enough force for either side to attack, so we had kind of a stalemate here. In the meantime, while that was happening, let's see if I can find all the pieces. Afshin Bey, who originally started up here on the first turn, he came down, he did some mustering, he kind of moved through central Anatolia. He wound up pretty deep, all the way to Iconion, ravaged Iconion, and then tried to make his way back. At that point, we had a conflict here between these units who moved back. We had a fight that eliminated Afshin from the game, and that scored the Roman player 2 more points. It was a pretty actually good maneuver by the Romans to kind of bait him in. But thankfully that allowed Alp Arslan to score some loot back to Mosul and Baghdad. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough points. The real crazy thing that happened was the status of Aleppo. So there are 2 cards in the Roman event deck that one of them turns Aleppo into an independent space where neither side can do anything to it. And then there's another card, if it is independent, the Roman player gains control of it. This represents the Emir of Aleppo diplomatically joining the Byzantine Romans. Well, he got both of those events back to back in the right order on the same turn. So that was a 3 VP swing to the Roman player, and that's pretty much why they ended up winning, although he made some good plays. We had Chadaturios here out of Antioch. He ended up relieving the siege of Manbij, driving off the Emir of Iran. He then ended up moving to Azaz, sieging that, and then he went deeper into the sort of Turkish provinces of Syria and did some ravaging. All in all, it was a very exciting game for a 1-year scenario. We played it in about 2 hours. That's about the time that single-year scenario should take in this game, and it's very encouraging that the play balance seems to be there. So this is Seljuk with the final map art. I had people come over and look at it, and if you're here this weekend and you're seeing this, thank you for checking it out. Over here, No Retreat Russia, a classic. Russia is in the process, I see, of being pushed off into the Siberia. That will end shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's going bad.
Yeah. I love the balance of this game. It's like that first turn where you get to flip one of your Russian units to being good. Suddenly it's like, oh, okay, I have a chance. I can finally counterattack.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, I guess other extreme.
Microverse. This is Sam
Changes the game radically.
prototype.
Like,
It's a 4X game that's made to be played in very quick. I'm going to play that a little bit later. Another game of Maria happening today.
That's right.
Austria seems to be doing okay.
Yeah.
Whoever's playing Austria, you're doing a good job. I usually get whipped as Austria.
I feel like it's coming now.
Yeah, it definitely will be.
Yeah.
It definitely will be. Ooh, Unhappy King Charles. One of my favorite CDGs. Tim, are you the Parliamentarians?
Yes, I don't normally play the Parliamentarians. I normally play the
Royalists?
the ungodly.
What turn are you guys in?
We're only on turn 3. We have so far fought 1 battle. 1 battle over 3 turns.
Nice.
We had a battle of Barnstable
Uh-huh.
between Hopton and Bedford. Bedford won, but then Bedford's currently unemployed with his army because Hopton came back with a few more Cornish pikemen. But yeah, it's, the king has finally moved, which is good.
Awesome.
Fortunately, it's moved closer to me, which is not so good.
Well, I hear if you drive a spear through his heart, you win the game, isn't it?
Yeah, but you shouldn't let that happen. You might make that mistake once, you won't do it twice. All right.
Unhappy King Charles, great game, English Civil War. Here's an oldie but a goodie. Warrior Knights. Oh my God!
First time, yeah.
I'm actually really surprised that you guys have like an $800 like game out playing it, touching it and stuff like that.
This is $800.
The game is extremely valuable. Like it's been out of print for so long, and people who want to buy.
We're selling it.
I got on Amazon for like.
Darn! I left my $800 bill at home.
Like first edition, $800.
I might be exaggerating, but it's like people like this game's been so out of print. It's hard to find that people who want to buy it pay like
I think this
huge
one
prices.
was used because I got it and the box is all dinged up.
But the game itself is.
But yeah, we
Yeah.
opened it out of packaging and everything. So
Like I always say, you don't play the box, you play the game.
exactly.
You know? So yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, it's a game I've always wanted to play. I wanted to own it for a long time, and then it was just impossible.
There's a lot of intricacies.
Yeah.
in it, so yeah, it's first time. So
This is the era of Fantasy Flight that I loved when they were doing like meaty strategy games. You know, they've kind of gotten more into licensed stuff lately, but yeah, awesome,
yeah, so far so good.
awesome. Hello, last 100 yards. Nice.
It's my first 100 yards.
Your first 100 yards. Well, my advice to you is don't get shot.
Okay.
So it's like.
Atlantic Chase still set up. Jerry White's actually here this weekend. He was talking a little bit today about the next game in that series. So if you come to GMT, Wicked at the Warehouse, you get a little inside scoop on what's coming next. Down in Flame still going. What do we got here? Oh, this looks like a prototype playtest. Wolfpack.
Loading still. Okay.
This is a prototype. This is a game that's on P500.
So played at 6 and 4.
6 and 4. Okay.
North Atlantic Convoy Struggles, World War II. Mike Berticelli is over there.
Mike, do I need to do it for this as well?
Looks pretty nice. Combat Commander. Oh no, Fighting Formations. Not sure which this one is. It might also be a prototype.
I'm going to activate him.
This is Fighting Formations, Gross Deutschland Division Battle of Kharkov. Nice.
Oh, I got to do all this first. What I'm going to do.
Another prototype. The Fetterman Fight.
That is the game.
What's it about?
So it is about a massacre that happened in 1866. The Sioux Indian
Okay.
wiped out a
sorry.
band of 81 U.S. Army troopers.
This is just right in my
And
stuff.
so this game recreates that.
Okay.
No, help yourself.
Interesting. So it's like Indian War period kind of.
Yeah, that would be basically it. So it's pretty close to being print ready. We're
Nice.
just going to do a little run through the rules here.
Awesome. These are all the tribes that are involved.
Those are the tribes that are involved. So these are Sioux, Lakota,
Yep.
and then these are allies.
Nice.
Yeah. So let me do that.
Oh, okay.
Because you got to cut them out a special way. Because for some reason this doesn't. They line up with each block, but the spaces in between aren't the right distance.
All right. So
Here are the U.S. cavalry
Oh,
groups.
let me show you how.
That's really cool. I love Indian War. There's not a lot of games. Not a lot of games in this period.
The best way to cut
Okay,
these out-
it's a really great little game, but we're going to set it up here and we're going to try a couple of little turns. And I want Larry to know Larry a long time. I respect his analytical ability. He won every upfront game he ever played, and I want to see what he thinks.
Awesome.
Larry is the guy to think this out.
Well, good luck. Awesome. I'll come by when you guys are playing and take a look.
I think about 3 hours.
Decisive Action with the designer. This is the game that I saw yesterday. It's a tactical World War II game. It's brand new. That he's been working on for a while, and it's the first time he's come to the Wicked at the Warehouse.
If you do an attack,
I've heard nothing but good things from GMT's folks about it. Interested to just maybe peek over and watch it a little bit later. We've got Dominant Species over here. Always popular Dominant Species. Pendragon again on this table today. We got more Time of Crisis here. Awesome. So this is I believe this is Infernal Machine from Jerry White. So this is, I looked at it the other day. This is, as someone pointed out in the comments, Infernal Machine, a Civil War submarine game, which has also been getting a lot of buzz, which is such an awesome topic for a game, and I would expect nothing less from Jerry White. You can see some of the crew members. This is the sub, weapons, mechanisms. Great name for a game, the Infernal Machine. So that's the front room today. It's probably going to be a bunch more games later. Oh, I didn't come over here. What are we playing here? More Imperial Struggle. More Imperial Struggle with Jason Carr. You're playing the French?
Yes.
Are you winning?
No.
It's been a good convention for the British player in Imperial Struggle this weekend at every game I've seen.
It's going to continue. This is not going to end well.
No. What turn are you guys in?
1.
Oh, okay, wow.
My prediction is Chucky gets beheaded.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're an optimist about it.
I am. Sun King, no more.
Enemy Action Kharkov still set up here. John doing demos of that. Really awesome that he's got that set up. All right, let's go to the back room. Let's see what we got in the back room.
For the first time the instruction, I was hoping that it will be possible to basically block
Can't
off
tell. It looks like a
make
prototype, maybe?
difficulty advance.
Yes, you see, and that's why I
What game?
kind of knew people were going to do that.
It's a game of his design. I don't know what it's called.
It's Grid Tactics. It's
Okay.
a game of my design.
Okay.
It's basically just a tile-based war game on a grid, and you build an army, and then you fight each other to the
That's
last
not
man,
two,
or
right?
the last round.
Awesome.
It may be you may need to.
I like the top-down perspective. Reminds me of like Heroes of Normandy a little bit.
Oh yeah, I don't play a lot of board games.
Okay.
This is more based off of like, in my mind, Command and Conquer.
Okay.
The original, yeah. So,
Nice. Awesome. So is it modern? It looks like it's a modern setting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I do not know if you can see the artwork, but it's pretty modern, though nondescript. As in, it's not. I think it doesn't really represent any historical army.
Definitely
really.
It's got its own stylized like visual identity.
Definitely.
Yeah. Very cool.
He's definitely the bad guy.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, he's definitely the best.
He's been the bad guy all weekend. Yeah.
Definitely.
Then you were playing the French too, right? So yeah.
Goes without
Into the Woods. This is brand new from GMT. Looks like a small scenario map over there. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yes, there's one on each side of that.
Nice.
And there's 2 full-size maps in the box.
Awesome. I love how games are doing smaller size maps for like smaller scenarios now. You know? Yeah. Pacific War had that.
It's too congested.
Prototype here. That was from John Butterfield. It's a sci-fi game. I forget what it's called, but I think it's a remake of an SPI title. He talked about it this morning. It's narrative driven, and he's kind of added a lot to the old version that he did. So he was playing this with Chris Yaniech yesterday. Sounds really interesting. Here is more Blind Swords. This is Thunder at Dawn, the Battle of Wilson's Creek. Same system as Any Cost Mets, obviously by Revolution Games, and obviously this map by Rick Barber. But you can see the Confederates, the Union, looks like they're a little ways through the game. Same system as Any Cost Mets. So now that I know how to play that, I'm really keen to try some of the Civil War games, even though I'm not a big Civil War player. Ukraine 43.
Yes, sir.
More Mark Simonich. The first Mark Simonich World War II game I played and got my butt handed to me handily. You guys just started?
Which side did you play?
I played the Germans, and I held too long around Kharkov before pulling back, and that was a huge mistake.
I've read about that.
You heard from an expert.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. The guy who played it once, yeah.
All right, I only have.
Combat Commander.
Well, yeah, you got it.
That's right. At the
We've
beginning
got
of
over
defense orders
here.
clause, it's -1 to the command.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I still got to move
I-
3.
This is, what's this game called?
It's a Kwanakajima.
Kwanakajima. This is, I think I actually, is there another game in this system?
There's a
series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's using the basically the same system, but
Yeah.
it's a collection of 3 battles.
Yeah.
Tenkai Tuitsu.
Tenkai Tuitsu,
Yeah.
which they had a copy of in October when I was here. They had one copy left, and I bought it because it was like the only copy in the U.S. I could find.
Good move.
I've been dying to play this system. It looks so cool.
It is. It
Yeah,
is. It's a very good system.
It's all like Japanese historical
Yeah.
battles, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but the design is French.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's got like the Tenkai Tuitsu has like a siege battle and a regular battle.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
we
like,
talked about last October.
Yeah.
And
Very
Senki Hara, which is very political.
Yeah.
Who knows who's on whose side kind of thing.
Right. So this is kind of Kawanakajima.
They're
Sorry about that.
technically the 4th battle of Kwanakajima,
Okay.
which was the only one that actually produced any action.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
they made a movie out of it.
But no, the other battles of Kwanakajima were just like, yeah, there you are.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to attack.
It's going parade.
Yeah. Just like kind of like gritting their teeth at each other and then
Exactly.
pulling back.
Hey! Oh! Your M.
Okay, my M.
It's a very cool system. It's all formation based and stance based, and there's like some really cool mechanics to it. It's very innovative. Kawana Kojima.
Two provinces.
More Time of Crisis over there. Hey, Fred Serval, if you're watching this, here's Red Flag over Paris. We got a sighting at the warehouse. Looks like a setup for a game, or potentially one that finished. Looks like a setup for a game. I played this for the first time a couple weeks ago. I really liked it. It reminds me a lot of 13 Days, but there's like different victory dimensions to it, more so than 13 Days. So it's a really interesting game. There's a lot of depth here, even though it's a very tiny footprint. I'm very impressed. Commands and Colors Medieval. This is the second time I've seen some Byzantine action at this convention other than my own game. That's awesome. Love it. Which battle are you doing? Decimum 533. Oh, okay. Battle of Ad Decimum. This is the one where Belisarius attacked the Vandals, basically, and wiped the Vandals out on his invasion of North Africa, right? Yeah. Very cool. You're playing the Vandals, it looks like.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
There's if anyone's watching this is familiar, there's a metal band called Judicator, and they do, all of their albums are themed to a historical person or a historical event. And they did an album about Belisarius that's 10 tracks of metal songs, and one of the songs is about the Battle of Ad Decimum and about what happens there. So if you're interested in some metal music, yeah. The Gleam of Bayonets still going over here.
I don't want to eat lunch today, so if you want to go eat.
And let's take and there's looks like a Conquest and Consequence setup potentially for a game later. Let's take a look through the warehouse because we got some shopping done in here earlier. And I know I did a tour earlier, but I want to show you the new arrivals, the stuff that was very popular with people. Here you go. Look at it. Wow, this so many people have picked up copies of Almoravid. Here they are in the flesh. They finally arrived. Almoravid, Libyan Campaign, Spanish Reconquista. By the way, these stacks were like, a lot of these copies have been purchased today by people at the convention. So it's real, it exists, and it presumably means it's coming soon. Yeah, so we're about to go get lunch. I'm going to go do that, and then tonight I will have another walkthrough, see what people are playing. I think we are going to play Antony and Cleopatra after lunch, so I will have a check-in with that as well. All right. Well, here we are, Saturday night, final night. Got some tacos in me, feeling really good. Had some great gaming today. Did play Antony and Cleopatra. You're not going to see that in this video because my opponent decided that they wanted to call it. They weren't having a lot of fun. I thought it was really interesting. I was playing Antony. I got destroyed pretty early and got behind the 8-ball. So my offensive campaign against Octavian turned into a defensive war of attrition, which was going swimmingly well. But ultimately we called it sort of at the end of the second year. We had about 7 turns remaining. So it was pretty close to the end, but it wasn't a total lost cause, which was pretty interesting. That game is so full of maneuver and operational campaign thinking that I really like. So I won't show you a video of that, but we did play Antony and Cleopatra. Did play a prototype that I will show you right now before we go inside the warehouse that I loved. A very cool game called Microverse, so check that out. All right, something that no one would have expected here because it's a prototype, but it's a damn good prototype. Sam London here. A game called Microverse, and as you can see from the art on the cover, it is a sci-fi 4X game, one of my favorite genres of game of all time, video games and board games. We just finished up a learning game here. As you can see, it's a hex-based galaxy, very similar to a lot of 4X board games out there. What's interesting about this one, we played a 4-player game. I was yellow. I was these horse-faced gentlemen, the Nalox Syndicate. And what's cool about this, first of all, it's like if you played something like Cosmic Encounter, like the game is really all about the race you have. Can I see your list? Yeah, so, oops, sorry. So there's this giant stack of races. They all have special abilities, but what's really interesting about it is they have a positive special ability, they have a negative special ability, and then they have some sort of scalable special ability that's unique to them. And there's a whole big stack of them. And so at the beginning of the game, you draft these, and that's who you play. And this makes it a ton of fun because they all break the rules of the game. But it's incredibly simple. You have a hand of action cards. There are 4 different kinds of actions: explore, build, mobilize, looking for a colonize. There's a colonize right there. And then you play these from your hand to take that action, and these also key off your your systems that you've colonized. So here you've got some colonies. You can see some ships here. I got invaded right at the very end. And then you take those actions, and everyone's doing this around the table, and you're essentially doing it. What any good 4X game is you're moving out into the galaxy, you're flipping tiles, and you're trying to find good stuff for your civilization. Now, the other cool thing is that there is, like Twilight Imperium politics, one player at the table every round is the Chancellor. They're going to draw from this deck of Senate cards. These are new rules for the game that affect the entire table. You're going to pick 2 of them, basically, and then everyone's going to vote on them, and these will sort of change the dynamic of what's going on. The person who's the Chancellor doesn't get to take their turn, so you know that every 4 times around the table, you're going to have your turn skipped, which makes it really interesting to manage your hand. And there's a lot of other really cool stuff here, like there's no dice, so combat is based on just drawing from the deck and looking at some of these check numbers here to see, in combat, how many hits you do, what your shields are, whether you win or lose the battle. Anytime you try and colonize, you're flipping cards with this middle number to see if you're successful. So there's some randomness, but it's kind of distributed through the deck. And overall, we played this in about 90 minutes, and it was super cool. So I hope it finds a publisher, and I hope if you're looking at this right now and it sounds interesting to you, that there is a way to engage with this. Is there a way to engage with this right now, or is this like the first time people are playing it?
This is the first on the roadshow. There is a Discord for it.
Okay.
We're going back into playtesting.
Nice. How long have you been working on this?
4 years.
4 years. Well, it really shows. It's very polished. It feels like there's been a lot of time spent into this. And in terms of just like the design, the amount of design that's gone into this number of races and special abilities is really insane.
It's about to go up by 50%.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how you find all of... I have a deck of like 22 cards in my game, and I'm like, I don't know that I could make any more. So that's pretty impressive. So this was Microverse, and it is a super cool distilled 4X sci-fi experience in sort of a card game format that I would absolutely play again in a heartbeat. Okay, Saturday night. Let's do one final walk around here. I got one more game on the books. Well, maybe 2. We're gonna try and do another playtest of Seljuk. We'll see how that goes tonight. But I do have one more game on the books tomorrow morning. Gonna play some Barbarians at the gates, I believe, hopefully. And yeah. So there's our Microverse game cleaning up.
You want to do it?
Legend of the Five Rings? Legend of the Five Rings?
Yeah, it's based on L5R.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Not familiar, but it looks neat. These guys are still going at it over here in Unhappy King Charles. They're in the final turn.
Okay.
Who's winning?
It's a toss-up.
Oh.
Well, I guess the game was looking very bad for the godly until the Lord General took on. Who did he take on?
The king.
The king, and wanted a major victory against him.
Oh no!
The spoil of it was a campaign
card, brutal.
which then allowed me to come and react strongly. And now we're in the chasing each other down, cavalry raiding, trying to nip off, because the south is firmly Parliament.
I see that.
So's the east. The north is teetering, and so is the Midlands. Wales is firmly royal. So
nice. I really like that you did the colored chits rather than the little flags. A lot easier to tell at a glance what's going on.
If anybody's ever going to get them, you always want to get them that they don't have a flat edge. They have a slight angle, so you can then get your nail under them. You can be Otherwise, you just can't pick them up off the board. You can't. Okay, so what did you do?
Unhappy King Charles is about to be very unhappy, it looks like. Oh, nice.
Indians can raid, and raiding gives them points.
Bayonets and Tomahawks.
Gives them victory points.
A game that I need to play a lot more of. It's such a genius design.
You really should. Victory.
It's so great.
So he's constantly raiding the game points, and once they've been raided, they can't be raided again.
Yeah, that's kind of similar in Wilderness War. You can do the raids. Very cool. Love that game. Still going the last 100 yards, and designer Mike Denson over there. Dune Imperium is like the 5th game of Dune Imperium I've seen this week. Very popular. Everyone loves it. What else? Imperial Struggle still set up here. We're John Butterfield. Playing some Dark Summer.
When a Western unit,
I believe the landings have just happened. Not sure what Bobby's doing with the Germans here, but
leaves here.
I have Das Plan.
He has Das Plan, he says, but the British have no one in front of them. They have an empty camp. I never thought I would see that. Fire in the Lake. More coin. This has been Coin Corner this weekend.
Yeah.
got US pieces? Why?
The NVA. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's
Oh my goodness.
it's a problem.
Are there any Viet Cong left in the game?
First Viet Cong.
Woo.
Yeah, but a lot of NBA.
A game that I own that I've wanted to play for such a long time. All Bridges Burning. The Finnish Civil War 3-player coin. The Finnish Reds look like they're doing quite good for themselves.
They got their nice concentration, but the Germans are here. I think the Germans could wipe
Nice.
out little bit by bit. Yeah.
Awesome. Really want to play this at some point. Been dying to play it. Infernal Machine still set up. There's going to be some people here tomorrow morning, I think, but usually it starts to clear out. A lot of people have left tonight. I'm flying out tomorrow afternoon. Let's go to the back, shall we? Gleam Bayonet still set up. Looks like some prototype stuff happening there. Goa. Some Euros.
How you doing?
How are you? How's Goa?
Goa's always good.
Yeah.
6 for triple peppers, Pat.
Space Corp. You guys playing with the expansions?
Nope.
Nope, just core Space Corp? Nice.
We just bought it today.
Awesome. Here we have got, this is Kawa Kanejima still set up. Looks like they've made some progress on that. It's the status of Ukraine 43. Oh my goodness. A lot has happened in Ukraine 43 since I was last over here. The Soviets are, yeah.
They're on the verge of winning.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
My opponent Stephen had to go home.
Right on the verge of him winning, or you winning? Yeah.
Yes.
Let you stare at this in anxiety for another night.
No.
Oh.
No, it's been very satisfying.
Nice. Awesome. I picked up Holland 44 out of the shopping today, so I'm very excited to play that. Yeah.
On this version, do the infantry not have Zok? Like Zok bomb?
Combat Commander.
Yes.
Nice.
It's so nice to return to classics.
Uh-huh.
I feel like young person because I call Combat Commander a classic. But it's been a really long while for me since I played this game. Back where I live, not that many friends want to play Combat Commander.
Really?
They like different styles of the games, and usually I am the tactical guy, and they are mostly strategic, operational, and I like those. The smaller scale, the better.
Nice. I have the World War I version, and I really enjoy it. I'm not a big tactical guy either, but I like the system a lot. So.
There's a World War I version?
Yeah.
It's called Great War Commander, and there is a box even here on the shelf.
It's a Hexasim. Hexasim publishes it.
French company made it, but engine is basically the same. Details are different, but if you know how to play Combat Commander.
They didn't get sued by Chad and Trident.
I think that they.
I think Chad allowed.
Some kind of arrangement.
Yeah, I think Chad was like allowed it or endorsed it. Yeah. And that's what's going on tonight. Looks like this Civil War. Looks like the Civil War. Blind Swords got packed up. And Saturday night at GMT. I think everyone's feeling a little bit tired. It's almost 9 o'clock. It's been a long 3 days of gaming for most people. I'm still ready to go. So, that's what we got. I will check in probably one more time before I leave tomorrow and see what Barbarians at the Gates has in store. Otherwise, thanks for watching. All right, one final game check-in here. We had just had a really thrilling one-year game, playtest game of Seljuk. My Turks won by half a point. We played just the 1068 year, which is the first year of the campaign. Small number of lords because a lot of them aren't ready yet, and it was pretty epic. So he was his first time playing any Levian campaign game, and he actually took to it really quickly. He got the Roman Emperor out of Constantinople really fast, rushed him down this direction, and ended up having basically two armies. He got Robert Crepin in on turn 1, Crepin and Chadeturios joined up to siege Monbij here, which historically did happen in 1068, although it was the emperor who did it. He took Monbij. That gave him a point, and he had some ravage markers there. Ibn Khan, who starts down here in Hama, did some raiding in Syria. That got some early ravage markers out. The other Seljuk lords, Arsigi, he didn't do much the first turn. He kind of came from the Middle East to Nisibis. And Alp Arslan made a pretty solid effort. Came down here to Theodosiopolis, ended up in Keltzine. But then the Roman Emperor arrived, and there was kind of a standoff here. Now, you can see from the Roman Emperor's force pool, he levied not only the Varangian Guard and the Hetareia, which is the imperial retinue, but he also levied Romanos' full complement of imperial soldiers. So he had a huge army here. They were eating 2 Provender every time they moved, and he had stacked him up with Nikephoros Varienio, so you can see he also fully mustered. So there was a big force coming at Alp Arslan here in sort of the eastern frontiers. They never actually came to contact. The Roman Emperor ended up moving down through Melitene, and he got to Diyarbakir, and you can see that he conquered Diyarbakir. Hilariously, I will show you at that moment in the game right now, because it was something I've never seen before, completely unexpected, and made me a sad panda. All right, we are here doing a little playtest of Seljuk Byzantium Besiege. We're just doing a 1-year scenario, the 1068 here. Your first time playing Levian campaign game right now?
Yes.
You're playing the Romans. You are making all the right moves. He has marched the Roman Emperor along with his top lieutenant all the way from Constantinople to the heart of Seljuk territory. He has put Diyarbakir, one of the key locations for the Seljuks, under siege with 1 siege marker. He just stormed the walls and he was turned away. No casualties on either side. It was inconclusive. Oh, actually, there might have been 1 casualty. We'll solve that in a second. However, he then decided on his next activation to do a siege action, and of course, it is a level 2 fortress. And so he needed to roll 2 dice, and because there's only 1 siege marker, he needed to roll a 1 on both dice. He rolled Snake Eyes on really what is sort of the main level 2 fort for the Turkish side. That means this whole garrison surrenders. I guess the majesty of the Eastern Roman Emperor was just too much for them, and he has conquered Diyarbakir in what is the first occurrence of a level 2 fortress surrendering with 1 siege marker that I have seen in all of my playtests of this game. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So that was the summer of 1068. We then entered the fall. I ended up getting Afshin Bey here, and at that point, the other fortuitous things that happened were my 2 events. I got Peace Offering, which meant in the final season of the game, no lord could attack or siege the other unless they paid a coin. And at that point, we had Arsigi. There was an attempt to have Arsigi switch sides based on the Roman events. And we both spent all of our coins to try and prevent that from happening. Arsigi stayed loyal, but that ran the Roman player out of coins, which meant that coming into the final turn, there were no more coins on offer that he could get easily. And so he was not able to actually prosecute another siege of Nisibis, which he had tried to do. You can see the Roman strategic objective token here he had put here in the call to arms phase to try and get an extra point out of it and siege it. And I was really nervous because he had 3 lords. He had Robert, Nikephoros, and Romanos here in this conquered fortress of Diyarbakir, and he was going to march on Nisibis. Thankfully, I got this card. The second thankful thing that I got was I had a Winter March card. This Winter March card allowed me, in the final turn of the game, in winter, to do 1 lord have an activation. I had Afshin, who in the autumn phase came all the way down out of Ani. You can see his raiding path. He went here, he went here, he went here, he went here, and then he was able to get back to Keltzine. And then in the winter phase, I played my Winter March, and he was able to make it back to Theodosiopolis. That gave him a path of controlled spaces to his seat, which is here. He was able to score some loot on the final turn between Ibn Khan down here in Hama and Afshin Bey up there. We scored 3 points in our loot for the winter, and that was just enough, with the number of ravage markers I had, was just enough to put me half a point ahead of the Romans. It was a really thrilling game. Really came down to like the final card play. Like if my 2 events had not been so good in the final turn, I would have lost by half a point or more. But as the Roman player, he played really well. He took really well to the system. He really liked it, actually. He was very complimentary. And he played the Romans exactly how you're supposed to play the Romans, which is you need to be really aggressive to get some of these conquerors early, and to hold them because they're worth a lot of points, and kind of just dissuade enough the Turkish player from being able to raid effectively. And he did that pretty much down here for most of the game. Ibn Khan really didn't leave Syria, which, again, historical. And Arsigi couldn't really get much momentum going. down here. He actually, when Arasigi was out here, we had the Roman army at Diyarbakir, and so Arasigi had to take a U-turn and head down through Syria himself. So overall, really great game, really great one-year scenario. I'm still tweaking the balance on a lot of stuff, but it does seem to be getting there pretty tightly. We're trying some experimental new rules around the use of the themata, which are these markers here. And as you can see, the themata here attempting to prevent Seljuk ravaging. A lot of casualties there with the Byzantine themata, Roman themata. So that's a little look at Seljuk and kind of the narrative unfolding. I got a chance to, tell the folks here about the game a little bit, talk to the GMT folks. I'm really hoping that, at some point in the future, this becomes a real project. So that's my check-in here with my final Seljuk game of the evening. I'm going to pack this up. I'm leaving tomorrow. We're going to have one game in the morning of Barbarians at the gates, but it has been a really fun time. It's closing down here. A lot of people doing their final games of the afternoon. I will talk to you a little bit later. Okay, you guys get a little bonus. I'm going to put day 4 here at the end of this video, of day 3. So this will be a day 3 and 4 recap. We are here at the end of GMT Warehouse Weekend. I'm taking you through one last. There's still some gaming happening. It's almost lunchtime here on Sunday. A lot of people have pieced out because they had to get to the airport or they're driving home. They've got all their stuff, so everyone's kind of saying their goodbyes. But I'm going to take you inside for one last tour. For this final morning. I did get one game in, and we'll take a look at that. All right, first game of Barbarians at the gates in the can. First of all, it's awesome. I can't wait to play this a whole bunch more. We did the 3-turn scenario from 363 to 401, and as you know, in 401, that was when the Germanic crossing of the Rhine happened. And I can tell you that the Germanic crossing of the Rhine happened quite heavily in this game. You can see the Vandals have not only crossed the Rhine, but they have they have stolen, from my perspective as the Roman player, Augusta Treverorum, which was the imperial summer residence for the Roman Empire. And they now run the streets and the shops because their tribe has decided that it's a nice piece of land for them. We had a lot of back and forth battles along the frontier. I was able to protect the eastern frontier pretty well. I was able to displace the Franks, who at one point were threatening to break through here into northern Italy, but we displaced them back further east. What was the other tribe that you had? You had the the Alemanni. The Alemanni, I think, also got displaced at some point, but it was the Vandals that caused most of my issues. They were able to break through along the Belgian border here. You can see that Theodosius the Younger, as the emperor, came in on the final turn, but the Romans have some really, really good leaders. It's tough for the Barbarians to contest them when they manage to get their forces together. Theodosius the Elder is amazing in combat. He had a battle where he fought off a stack twice his size. I think that was the Franks, wasn't it? That was the battle where it was 10 Franks to 5 Romans, and the Romans ended up winning it, which was pretty impressive. It was very bloody. Down in Africa, we had the Maori come out of the Sahara and come in. And then you're noticing here that the Britain and Africa are not Roman. Why is that? Well, we had 2 usurper emperors pop up over the course of the game. On the very first turn, Maximus in Britannia decided that he was going to be Roman Empire, flipped control of the entire province, robbed me of all my manpower up there, sailed across the English Channel, landed here in, I guess this is called Gezoriacum, which would be modern day, Calais, I guess. Something up there, somewhere. Anyways, he landed in Normandy and caused all manner of havoc for me here. We actually had some really big battles between the 2 Roman sides, the Pretender and the actual Romans. And we ended the game actually with the Pretender, Maximus, locked inside the city here. I tried to punish him and siege him out of it, but I couldn't quite do enough hits. You can see that Arbagastes has a big stack of Romans here. Yeah, all in all, a really fun game. There's a lot of sort of like poking back and forth. There's some really interesting subtleties here that you don't understand until you start playing, where with Roman allies. So when you resettle barbarians as Roman allies, you can see here the difference between a Roman regular and a barbarian ally. The barbarian player is trying to convert all of these border spaces and cultivated spaces. Every time they do that, they get plunder, which is tracked by this marker. That helps them achieve their victory conditions. But they only get that plunder if it was originally Roman. If you've got a barbarian ally unit here, they don't get the plunder for that. So there's this incentive for the Roman player to settle a bunch of barbarians on the frontier as they did historically, so that there's not, the barbarians have to fight themselves, which is really cool. I didn't quite pick that up until about halfway through the game. The rule book is not my favorite rule book I've ever seen. It's lacking in table of contents. The rules that you're looking for are not, they're kind of buried in the text, but it overall flows pretty well once you start playing. And Had a ton of fun. There's, I can't wait to do the whole campaign scenario. That's going to be epic to see sort of the Roman Empire like collapse slowly over the course of the game. Ultimately, this game was a barbarian victory. Congratulations.
Thank you.
He did an amazing job raiding. I mean, he got the plunder track fully across twice, which is why I'm here. His pretender emperor took Britain. He robbed control of Belgium from me. So the Romans, in a significantly worse position than they probably were historically, lost control of Africa with another pretender emperor. And I can't wait to see how this flows over the course of a full campaign, because there's like some really interesting decision making you have to do here, and a lot of the options you have with what you use your ops for are different for both sides, so there's some asymmetry in the design, which is really neat. And I love the barbarian tribe thing where they have to migrate every turn and they're slowly pressing forward. So that's Barbarians at the Gates, and I'm going to be playing this one probably quite a lot when I get home. So it was such a blast playing Barbarians at the Gates. You can see here we've cleaned it up. It was a ton of fun. There's a lot of sort of late Roman stuff happening today. Barbarians at the Gates, super fun. Can't wait to play it again. I had a great time with the intro scenario of that. So awesome. Some really cool mechanics. You can see we've got some folks just kind of loitering, milling about, having some conversations. John Butterfield looking at his prototype for his sci-fi narrative game. He showed that to Gene. That's in Kai Jensen over there. Flashpoint South China Sea is going on. Some lightweight stuff for the final day as everyone's fried. And last 100 yards still going. Been all weekend people have been playing that.
I've got 3 here.
Mike Denson was here. These Oh, a Sunday Here I Stand game, huh?
Yeah,
Did you just finish?
Yeah. Well, it was a demonstration because this was the lucky owner of the game who had this game for how long, John? Now, can you admit this publicly?
2017.
And he kept it under the wrap.
What a friend.
I mean, I think
he just wanted to.
Even if you
bust
don't
my games, Terry.
and disgrace you in a theological debate, how often you can do this, right?
Wait, have you not played it? You've owned it for 4 years and or 5 years and never played it? Oh my goodness.
So I had to do something about it.
Just high still one string.
Oh man, but this is the this and Virgin Queen are like my number 1 and 2 convention games, right? Like if there's a convention where there's gonna be lots of people, because that's the only way you can get this played unless you have a ton of war game friends, right? One of my favorites of all time. So good. That's awesome.
Maybe now he will be a convert.
We'll play it in October if you guys will be here. I'm totally down to play Here I Stand.
If you will bring John your copy.
Ukraine 43 still going.
Eking out the last.
Yeah.
The Russians have 6 out of 7 victory points, so.
Oh yeah, kind of a foregone conclusion at this point.
They're going to pull it out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make them pay for it.
Good. Make the win costly. That's what I did when I was playing Mets. I played at any cost Mets on
I saw that.
Friday, and I ended up losing on the final chit draw of the final turn. But boy, did I cause a lot of casualties. So.
Did you enjoy it? You like it?
Yeah, I did like it. It was my first time playing Blind Swords, and I'd never played it before. And the Mets one, I think the scale of the Mets one is a little more zoomed out than the Civil War ones in that series. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. The chit stuff allows for a lot of narrative to come through, which I really enjoyed. All right, looks like we had a game of Takenoko happening. This is the hilarious game where you're trying to feed your panda bamboo to win the game. Good lightweight. Another Almoravid copy bought there. People brought a lot of games. We got a game happening over here in the corner. More Churchill. Like the 5th Churchill game.
Oh, really?
I've seen at this convention this weekend, yeah. Big. This and Imperial Struggle have been by far the 2 games that most people have been playing. Yeah. How's the war going?
Comes off.
Oh, Soviets are almost in Berlin. That also happened in another game I checked in it. Wow. Some Nazi scientists are going to go live in Russia in a couple minutes.
Did it work? Oh, it was automatic.
More Atlantic Chase. A lot of trajectories on the map there. Cleaning up. Dead Reckoning got played over here. And I think there's one final game happening over in this part of the warehouse. Looks like Time of Crisis. Another late Roman Empire collapse game.
You got a 4-red? 4-red?
Very good. Well, that's it. That's the GMT Games Warehouse weekend in a nutshell. Thanks for, if you've been watching the content, thanks for checking in and following along with what's been going on here. It's been a ton of fun, as always. They always put on a great event. I highly recommend if you get a chance to come to this particular convention that you do so. They do it twice a year. I'm glad it's picked up again after COVID, and obviously between the shopping and the people and the games, it's got a really nice feel, and highly recommend for me. I love when I get the chance to come down here. Yeah, I don't know what's going to be next for me. I'm going to take a much needed break and recover. My brain is absolutely toasted, so yeah, hope everyone's doing well, and we'll see you soon.